Welcome to the Bitcoin Transition, Bitcoin Essentials Module 1, Lesson 1. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This course is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Pause the video here if you'd like to read the full disclaimer in detail. This is where our journey begins. Because before you can truly understand Bitcoin, you have to understand money. So, what is money? First, let's go back, way back, to a time before coins, before paper money, and long before banks. Before coins existed, people used items like tally sticks, cowry shells, and precious metals like gold and silver to trade and store value. Before fiat currency ever emerged, the people of the island of Yap used giant stone discs called roi stones, not exactly something you could slip into your pocket, but it worked for them. And before there were banks, Chinese societies used silk as a form of money, soft, valuable, and recognized in trade. In early human societies, trade happened through barter. You might trade a goat for some grain, or firewood for meat. But the problem was the barter system couldn't scale. What if the person with the grain didn't want a goat? What if you needed shoes, but the cobbler wanted salt, not wool? This created a major limitation, what economists call the double coincidence of wants. You both had to want exactly what the other had at the same time. It didn't scale, it was inefficient, and it held civilization back. Over time, humans naturally gravitated toward using common mediums of exchange, things everyone valued, even if they didn't need them immediately. Different societies used different things as money based on what was scarce, durable, and widely accepted. In some Pacific islands, people used large stone discs called roi stones. They were great for symbolic value, but you couldn't exactly carry one to the market. In Africa, people traded with cowry shells, pretty and scarce, but easily found in other regions. This made them vulnerable to inflation once new sources were discovered. In colonial America, people even used tobacco as money, but it was perishable and hard to divide. If you're finding this helpful, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It might seem small, but every like, comment, and subscriber helps boost the algorithm and spread this message further. Everything here is shared freely, with the hope of bringing more peace and prosperity to the world through Bitcoin education. Your support truly makes a difference. Eventually, humanity found something better: gold and silver. The first universal currencies, they were scarce, you couldn't fake them easily. Durable, they didn't rot or degrade. Divisible and portable, coins could be minted into different weights. Recognizable and trusted across borders. Gold and silver became the first sound money, especially once governments standardized them into coins. Gold and silver became the foundation of trade, savings, and long-term value. But then came the next step: paper money. Paper money began as a receipt, a promise that it could be redeemed for gold or silver held in a vault. It made carrying value easier. But eventually, governments broke that promise. They removed the gold backing and declared, "This piece of paper has value because we say so." That's what fiat currency means, money by decree. And since that shift, history has followed a predictable pattern. Central banks print more money, dilute the value, and leave the public with less purchasing power. Why this matters? Throughout history, the best money has shared a few key traits: scarcity, durability, divisibility, portability, recognizability, and resistance to manipulation. And every time a society has strayed from those principles, by inflating supply or politicizing money, the consequences have been economic collapse, inequality, and loss of trust. Bitcoin is the first money in history that ticks all the boxes without relying on governments or banks. And that's where this journey leads next. If you're finding this valuable, you'll love the full Bitcoin Essentials course, completely free, over at thebitcointransition.org. Inside, you'll get structured lessons, downloadable resources, bonus content, and everything you need to start living on a Bitcoin standard. Head to thebitcointransition.org and get started today for free.